We got the Eagles. We're going to be reviewing their draft class now. The first pick off the board was Jalen Rager. Now, Jalen Rager is explosive, and one of the things that actually confused me looking at his tape where I couldn't get a great read on him was that his quarterback play and the offensive line play wasn't actually that great, so he didn't get a bunch of balls thrown, which you would call on target or on the money, but he had the second highest explosive play rate in college. So when you look at it, you see a lot of ability to go and stretch the field and be a real playmaker over the top, but then I also saw not elite size, a hard time high pointing balls. I wasn't sold drafting him at 21st. In this one, in guys drop, but I had Mims higher than him. I had Justin Jefferson higher than him. I had Brandon Ayuk higher than him. I just wasn't in love with that pick. Jake, what say you on the first pick? I'm questionable.
I like the pick a lot. I think that's a team that needs weapons. It needs playmakers on their offense around Carson Wentz. We saw them get a good pick, and he had a great rookie season last year in Miles Sanders at running back. So they need somebody younger in the receiving core because they were throwing to literally nobody. I think like week 12, they're actually signing people off the streets to come play wide receiver for their team. They like Philadelphia Eagles tryouts.
They were they were literally UDFAing that spot because of injuries and poor receiver play.
I think they're moving people like from other positions to receiver because they had nobody. And I think he's a crazy athlete. He only ran a 4.47 at the combine, but he did this video pro day thing that everybody did this year because of COVID, and they had him run like 4.22. Now, obviously, that's not like official, or I don't think that should be taken, but I think he's faster than 4.47 that he got clocked at the combine. So I think he's an added weapon that just could be fast and just make big plays that the Eagles need.
I agree with you, Jake. I completely agree with you. He's a guy who's going to make big plays. Not the greatest speed, doesn't have a lot of over-the-top athleticism, but if you go look at TCU, every single highlight of his was a big play. You're looking at kind of like Deshaun Jackson, someone that Deshaun Jackson could definitely help.
Did you see him getting covered up? Did you see him getting covered up by 6'2" corners, though?
I'm telling you what, though, the Eagles need this. It doesn't even matter about that. The Eagles need this. Alshon Jeffrey has not produced like a wide receiver one. Again, Deshaun Jackson missed 13 games.
Nelson Aguilar is the biggest question mark in the NFL at this point, too. I get what you're saying.
They need this pick. They need this pick. And again, he's a big play. He may not be a solid receiver, but when the Eagles need to go downfield, we might see him catch a couple long balls. So what matters is they got a big play guy. It's not everything. Yes, they could have chose better, but at least they got a guy who's going to make big plays and maybe can get consistent production, but it's just a matter of how his development goes.
He's also a home run hitter on special teams as he made huge punt returns and kick returns.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree about that. I do see him. I agree with you guys there completely. I think he's going to be a very good return man in the league.
Yeah.
And while he didn't clock in like the fastest 40 like you would have expected, he still had like an insane shuttle time. His burst is crazy. His acceleration is insane.
His
release.
I got a question. Exactly. I got a question for you guys. So with me, like combine 40 time doesn't mean everything. With a lot of it, like I see a guy like Ruggs, right, and it's 4.27, which is like wow, you see the 4.2, but then you even see him on the field, and you're like, that looks like 4.23. I don't know. How much do you guys take into 40? Take in like a combine or a pro day 40? Does that factor a lot or a little?
Like you said, I think there's a difference between like on the field speed and 40 speed. And so for me, like when I see it matched with the player, like you were just talking about Ruggs, like I watch Ruggs on the field and I'm like, that dude probably runs a 4.2. And he runs a 4.27. I'm like, okay, that dude is probably one of the fastest dudes on the field at all times. Like Lamar Jackson, same type of thing. Like you watch his speed and it just matches. Whereas I don't take it like to mean as much when I watch them on the field and I think they look like they're running a 4.7 and they get clocked in at a 4.5. Because I'm like, it doesn't look like he actually uses that full potential on the field. I don't really see that, so like how much do I actually want you, like how important is it if you're never running a 4.5 on the field, even though you run a 4.5 on the 40,
I think I gotta combine elusiveness with this and route running. Again, someone like Ruggs is gonna have breakaway speed on a slant route. Someone who lines up in the slot who's gonna run right across the middle of the field and then take off. That's where 40 speed comes into it. So again, it doesn't necessarily always translate to the field. It's just about breakaway speed, how fast you can get away from your defenders, how fast you can release off the blocks. That's what really matters because that's what it is. It's all about explosiveness, how fast you can get out. And that's what we see in Ruggs. I know Rager's a little bit slower, but we look at Ruggs, and that's where he's really good, and you're going to see him catch a lot of slants and just take off. You're talking 50-yard touchdowns, 80-yard touchdowns.
Absolutely. Moving on, I know there's going to be a little division here on the pod, man. I'm excited for this. But I am absolutely jazzed. I'm absolutely jazzed about the second pick in Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to touch on this for a number of reasons. Give me a sec, boys. Here we go. Okay.
Light-skinned Donovan McNabb right here. Light-skinned Donovan McNabb.
Listen to me. The most important position in football, over 11 points per game, you know the stats on it. It's not even close who's important. The most important position on the field, that's the quarterback. Now, is Jalen Hurts going to be starting at quarterback? No, of course not. They got their $100 million man in Carson Wentz. However, this man is made of glass. We know this. Noah, give me some stats on how often he's been injured. Last 3 seasons, each season for more than 2 games, right?
Each season he's injured. Again, we saw Foles take them to the Super Bowl because he was injured. Last year we saw 38 Josh McGowan have to take the Super Bowl. He had to bounce out. And
they almost won.
Listen,
and then come out.
Let me finish. So like Noah just touched on, all right, we got the injury concern. So he's going to be stepping into a position where he's filling in for if he needs to fill in, which is likely due to Carson's injury history. He's an excellent quarterback. Now, what I saw on Jalen on the field is a winner. I saw a first-round quarterback, which a lot of people did not. And the 20 rushing touchdowns cannot be discounted. That's a huge amount of rushing touchdowns. We're talking about up there with top elite running backs in college football. This is a dude that provides a crazy schematic look. And now what I see is Doug Peterson is an offensive-minded guru coach. He can scheme up all kinds of things. And what I see is visualize a 2-quarterback set where Hurts in a capacity of running and throwing is on the field at the same time. I am so excited to see the creative looks to throw defenses off. Is Jalen going to throw? Is Jalen going to run? Do they put Jalen out there in isolation? I can't wait to see how they utilize him. And mark my words, as a rookie, he will be on the field in unique sets, getting wildcat sets. I don't know what it's going to be. But to not only add depth and have a great winner and leader to come in and learn. And he's a great learner. He has one of the higher football IQs. There's so many clips of him breaking down tape and displaying his IQ in such a high... It's exceptional. I love the pick in every capacity. Not only did they need the depth, especially in the Eagles, but they needed another way to scheme up 4 plays a game, and they did it by drafting Jalen Hurts. Before you go crazy, Noah.
Boo.
Go crazy, Noah.
Let me just hit Jake with this stat. Jake doesn't realize Jalen Hurts played in the SEC and the Big 12. He had a 41-3 record.
Winner, baby!
48 passing touchdowns, 28-3 rushing. We saw he is also a great bench guy. Tua took over. Jalen was not phased by that.
What did he do? He put his helmet to him and he said, "This is your game. You win this." And he stood on the bench and cheered his team on.
Mentally tough. Physical attributes. Again, a strong arm, strong build can work on that. But again, something that a lot of quarterbacks in this league can't do are extend plays. We saw Lamar Jackson do it last year. Where did it lead him? MVP. I know it's really early. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts could be MVP, but he's definitely going to have an impact to the Eagles, if not this year, in the coming years, because Carson Wentz is injury prone, and what we're going to see is Carson Wentz slowly decline and Jalen Hurts take over. He has the weapons.
How much did they just sign Wentz to?
100 million plus, like 100.
For how many years?
I think 4.
Injured every year.
So you're telling me, why not just spend the 5th round pick on Fromm or 4th round pick on Fromm, a real playmaker that will actually
because he adds a creative schematic piece to the Eagles.
Dylan,
There's no way he impacts an offense more than Denzel Mims.
Dylan, we made our
Mims. He would have started receiver immediately.
So what's your beef then? What's your beef with the Jalen Hurts pick? You know a backup quarterback's valuable.
He's a terrible player, but when you're paying a quarterback and you have
this dude went for 50 total touchdowns.
Who I think can be elite. He showed that he can be elite. He almost won MVP that 1 year before he tore his ACL. So if you're worried about a backup, yeah, you need a backup. Get a fucking backup quarterback, not a second rounder. Go to the 4th round. Where was Nick Foles' pick? That's all they needed.
All right, you know what? Let's move on. We got a little disagreement. Jake thinks they should have... All right, Jake thinks they should have taken a wide receiver. Noah and I think they should have taken a quarterback. In the comments section below, do you agree with me and know that this is a schematic fit, or do you agree with Jake that this was an invaluable pick and they should have taken a wide receiver like a Denzel Mims?
100%.
All right. All right, now that we've held down, crazy pick, I know. Let's touch on maybe just one spot, or maybe build on something for maybe a 3rd through 5th. I'm going to be touching on the Clemson safety out of just an excellent defense and a well-coached defense, and that's Kavon Wallace. I really liked him as far as physicality and quickness. Those are the two things that I saw. He played very physical and he played very quick. I liked both of those attributes about him. I could also see him with those two attributes being kind of what's highlighted in his abilities. Kind of a blitzing in the box safety, if you will. Somebody that can kind of create havoc, maybe be a run stopper almost, kind of jump in that outside blitz game. I'm not sure what we're going to see from him, but I really liked the athleticism, and out of the 4th round, well-coached, good instincts, under Dabo's defense, in the Brent Venable defense, it's extremely well-coached, and there's a few colleges that I actually trust the staff, where you say, oh, this guy's coming out of here, well, that's a well-coached guy. And one of those things is if you're coming out of Brent Venable and Dabo on the defense, I trust you. I like that. I think he's going to be a good pick. What do you guys, Jake, you want to start us off maybe? Something in that kind of 3 through maybe 7 range?
Yeah, I just want to say I really, really did not like the John Hightower pick. Specifically, I just think that he should have been picked later. I thought it was a reach because they needed more receivers, and they did not decide to pick them earlier, like the 2nd round. So they had to pick him late. They forced the pick. He's a deep threat receiver that caught about 51% of his catches last year, I think. Maybe 53. It's right in that range. He's not very fast. So I thought that was what stood out to me as being
I agree with you. I was actually, again, funny enough you say this, I was actually going to touch on that if somebody didn't just at the end, but I wasn't a huge fan of that pick either. Noah, I know that there's maybe an Auburn guard that you saw that kind of exceeded where he was drafted.
Well, first let me go with Davion Taylor at
Absolutely.
Colorado, linebacker. First, you got to consider the fact that Nigel Bradham declined his option. Camu Gregor Hill signed with the Dolphins. Nathan Jerry missed too many tackles. This guy's a less than ideal size, but he has top speed. He's a great tackler. He has below average length, but someone that could definitely make the athletic plays in man coverage. Man coverage is something that's huge in this conference. We see it all the time, and I think he has a great potential. Now, going down to my absolute favorite pick of this draft is Jack Driscoll, who's a grad transfer, a 2-year starter. Now, he's not the greatest at size-wise and blocking, but he has a great size that he needs to work on. That's all. He just needs to work on eating more, weight room. But he was a guy that was projected as one of the best guards to start the draft. The only reason why is because some of his combines were kind of shaky. But again, I think we're going to see this guy get some time in the first maybe year 2 or 3. I really do think he could take off. He played at Auburn, probably protected Bo Nix, who, again, extends plays. You're going to see Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz extends plays. He's going to be able to hold defensive linemen for a couple seconds longer and hopefully help his players make some big plays.
I agree. I just wanted to touch on that extremely briefly, but I saw Jack Driscoll on tape. Again, kind of fell into the amalgamation of SEC players that people might not get to see because there's so many great linemen out of that conference. For one, SEC, Noah touched on it. That's the best conference of line play. So if you're playing line in the SEC, you're getting the best competition against you. The second part about it is this guy was an excellent pass protector. Like he already said, he touched on his ability to protect Bo Nix extending plays. I saw that too. That's exactly spot on with that analysis. I mean, this dude is undersized but showed great ability to still pass protect. If he adds, I would say 15 to 20 pounds to his frame in a healthy way, we're going to be looking at a potential really, really good tackle in this league. Guys, Noah, I'm gonna float it right back over to you. Give me a grade on what you thought the Eagles were able to accomplish in this 2020 NFL Draft.
So I think their first five picks were perfect. For that, I'm gonna have to give them a B. Everything below, I kind of question. I don't know what they're thinking at, Hightower. I mean, I guess the desperate need for a wide receiver. But other than that, I don't really see much potential in Bradley, Watkins, Tega, Wanahu, and Chuhil. Personally, I think those are just guys that kind of need to fit the roles. But other than that, I'm going to have to give them a B.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give them I'm going to give them a B as well, but that's because I really, really liked 3 of their picks, but didn't care for the other ones. And I'm not actually, you'd say, well, if you only like 3 of their picks, they had a hell of a lot. Well, it's because I value the higher picks in the draft more than I would value the lower picks in the draft. So I'm not going to beat them up for missing on 6th and 7th round guys. We don't even know what they're going to accomplish necessarily. So I'm not going to beat them up too hard. But I wasn't a fan of the Jalen Rager pick, as I said. I love Jalen Hurts. I thought the outside linebacker out of Colorado was a solid pick, and then I really, really liked Kavon Wallace. So as well as Jack Driscoll, as I said. For me, this kind of middle tier made it good. They missed on their first pick, so I'm going to give them a B overall. I thought it was a solid draft. The middle part of it was solid, but the front end and the back end fell short for me. Jake?
I'll give them a generous D+. I thought it was a terrible, 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 terrible draft. I like Jalen Rager as a player, but like Dylan said, I thought there are other receivers they could have picked on the board at number 1 that would have helped them more and been their true number 1 X rather than just a gadget guy.
Out of curiosity, retrospect, who would you draft knowing Jefferson, Ayuk, Mims,
I would
T.
have taken
Higgins?
Ayuk or Jefferson.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
I would have taken or Mims.
Mm-hmm.
Or Mims. I would have taken Mims way before Rager.
I know a lot of Eagles fans were mad they didn't get Justin Jefferson. I saw Eagles
Jefferson's
fan
an amazing player.
Amazing player.
Yeah.
Versatile, just very good at every. He's just
his
one of those.
route running is just perfect.
His route running's perfect. Good hands, good height. He's just one of those guys that you kind of look at and you're like, wow, he can do it all.
Yeah, they didn't touch anywhere near a position of need in the second round.
No, that's the part.
I didn't like their other attempts to make up for not picking a receiver earlier in the 5th and the 6th round. I don't think either of those guys are going to pan out.
Yeah.
I didn't like the draft.
Actually, you know what? You actually convinced me a little in that, Jake. I'm going to drop my grade to a B- after that. And the reason for that, though, is because you're talking about not addressing a need late in the draft. And I agree. I thought the John Hightower pick, I wasn't valuing that as bad enough. That's a 5th-round pick. I'm going to downgrade him to a B-, C+, just because they didn't address the position in need as well as they could have in the later half. Yep. But I still think with those few middle picks, it's a medium level.
If they are again signing people off the street next year to come play receiver, they're going to hate themselves. It's actually.
And to close out the NFL Thank you guys so much for tuning into the NFL Draft Grade series here on Game Time with Dylan Kattengell. If you guys enjoyed the content, a like and a subscription really help out. If you had a question or an idea for a future video, drop it in the comments below. We get to all of those. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Game Time with Dylan Kattengell.